Hello, divine creations, divine marvels, children of God. Thank you so much for joining in, those who are currently live and those watching the broadcast of this. I'm just so overjoyed. Every time I do one of these, every time one person shows up, much less right now, there's 4 of us, plus Jesus, plus Bruno. Now there's 5 physical people and who knows how many invisible spiritual people. And I'm always so happy because I'm always so happy because, I'm utterly convinced that what Bruno Gröning taught is the medicine that this world needs. Never in a million years did I think I would say, you know what? I think there's one thing that can solve everything. I've explored every major world religion. I've thought of converting to every major world religion. I've studied all sorts of spiritual and new age, and not just studied, I practice these things. I don't just read about them intellectually. I've studied all different kinds of alternative and holistic health, and all of them, I value everything I've studied. And I honestly believe that if the world had said yes to Bruno Gröning when he was here in 1949, if the world had said yes to what he was teaching, not just, yes, we'll worship you, Mr. Gröning. Bruno didn't want that at all. If they had said yes to living this simple way of life, of trusting in the divine, moving back closer to nature, following God, which is a deep subject of learning how to be guided by the divine, of recognizing creation as sacred, of recognizing that we are sacred, these bodies are sacred, and the soul that lives inside these bodies, of watching our thoughts and taking in this divine energy. I'm utterly convinced that if enough people had said yes to what Bruno Gröning taught, in essence, a large part of the world, we would be living in paradise on earth right now. That's my utter and complete, I'm completely convinced. I'm completely convinced that what Bruno Gröning taught was the exact same thing as what Jesus taught. And I'm utterly convinced that if the world had said yes to the way of life, not to the religion, not to that's been founded around Jesus, but to doing what Christ asked us to actually do, we would have been paradise on earth for 2,000 years. So when each one of you come to one of these meetings, I am so grateful. Because for me, every step, every application of this teaching, every time we tune in, every time we notice a negative thought and hand it over, it's just one step closer towards freeing our beautiful Mother Earth from all evil, much less freeing ourselves. So my gratitude is also beyond words, because in sharing this, I can't even tell you how much stronger my faith has grown and how much deeper my understanding of Bruno Gröning's teachings has become. And now here we are in March 2020, and quite possibly, in recorded history, one of, if not the greatest crises. And I can honestly say, sure, I have moments of fear, but I'm honestly not afraid, because I have a spiritual understanding of what's going on. And that spiritual understanding is very simply, it's just one more symptom of evil. We don't have a world health crisis. We don't have a pandemic. We have a spiritual pandemic of evil. Evil's running rampant. And I'm not perfect. I day by day, I struggle with these thoughts, with negative thoughts. And um, as so that's part of it is, oh, we have an evil crisis. We have an evil demic. We don't have a pandemic. We have an evil demic. Um, but also, as humanity moves away from, as us as individuals, and hopefully everyone here is striving to move back towards God and in communion and harmony with nature. As humanity moves more away from God and nature, then what's happening right now in March 2020, it's just the beginning. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but what I'm bearing is hopefully the solution. The solution is God and communion with and living in harmony with nature. If we don't do that, then March 2020 is going to be nothing. I've been telling my friends, this is just nature and God's warning shot across our bow. That's a military term. When two opponents are facing each other and one opponent wants to let the other opponent know, hey, I'm serious here. They fire a bullet, but they fire it so that they're not actually trying to hit the person. Kind of a warning shot would be another. That's all I see what's going on. It's just a warning shot, a wake-up call. And I know I am trying to wake up, trying to deepen my connection to God and my respect for and honoring of nature and to follow God more. And I hope each one of us can take this as an opportunity and also an opportunity to practice Bruno Gruning's simple but not always easy teachings. Here's what Bruno Gruning said about times like this. You must not be afraid of disaster. You have, after all, the duty and obligation to immediately establish the connection with God, and God will hold his protecting hand over you. So that's a lot of words. I thought this was going to be just a silent meditation, and here we are. Oh, hello, forever loving everything. God evening, Gerald. Hi, Germana. Carolyn, you are so welcome. Thank you for your thanks, and thank you so much for coming by. Hug received and returned, Melanie. So let's take in. I hope everyone here is tuning in already. To the best of my ability, I'm tuning in while I'm talking. So let's hand over all fear. Let's hand over all habits that don't serve. And then let's take in the energy of God, the stream of life that heals. Noticing what you feel. Every sensation a step towards your healing, a step towards recovery, a step towards salvation. Any negative thoughts arise, hand them over. Checking each thought. Really taking in the good. Every sensation. Literally the energy of God. Healing. Healing our bodies. The moment a thought of illness comes, handing it over, distancing ourselves from the illness. I've often said that the essence of Bruno's teaching was we need God or rely on God. And then I've referred back to a passage from the Gospel of Matthew where it's written that Jesus spoke about having a solid foundation that can withstand the storm. My understanding is that foundation is faith and trust in God. Bruno Goerning said, trust, confidence in the good is the foundation, the fundamental principle. The fundament, a word we don't use often in English, meaning like the absolute basis of divine order. He didn't say it, but I believe what he meant is in our lives, much less on this whole earth. So let's lay our foundation. Let's take on faith. Let's ask, what's the thing I need to do to deepen my faith? It's a very holy prayer. God, I want to have faith. Please, 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 Bruno, help me to learn faith. And then part of it's just doing it, making a decision and sticking by that decision. And we're human, so we'll fall short. So then coming back to that decision. My understanding of faith is trust in God no matter what, meaning no matter what happens. And Bruno Green said something to that effect. I am going to find it. I'm going to try to find it. So I'll just have to paraphrase. Bruno Gröning said that the good will prevail. And no matter, and again, this is a paraphrase, he said, no matter, in essence, he said, no matter what form evil rears its ugly head, don't lose faith that the good will prevail on this earth. And I will find that because it's so apropos to what we're facing right here, right now. Bruno Gröning also says, when man believes again in real divinity, he will experience blessedness in himself when he knows how to put faith into action. He said, building up the soul means that man will receive again the spirit which God has placed in his body, with which he can receive the divine transmission. Well, friends, Bruno always said life is a school. He sometimes said it was a play school. Here we are. We're being given such a deep opportunity to learn faith. Is it the most fun lesson? No. Would any of us have chosen it? I would prefer to learn faith sitting on a beach in Hawaii, but I'm not the I'm not the master instructor. God is. God's the headmaster, and people such as Bruno and Christ are the professors. So let's use this time to learn to rely on the divine. Thank you so much for joining in, everyone. I'll be doing this again real soon. Take care. So much love.